Hey gang, Dr. Yao here. I wanted to touch base real quick about our due dates and assignments here for the first week. So this little video is just going to walk you through the schedule in terms of how to understand those due date sheet. So let's take a quick look. First thing to know is how to find the due date sheet. You're going to be able to find that in the due dates module, in the module section. It'll be just like it says up top there. Now your particular subject, section number, or the dates you're going to see in this video may change depending on the semester, but this is the basic idea. So the due dates are going to have all the schedule for the entire semester already set up. Now those dates may change a little bit here or there as we move through the semester, but it gives you kind of the basic outline for the schedule for what we're doing. So it'll have your section number up top, and then that early section and that due dates will explain how the dates actually work. So first thing to know is that those weekly at a glance videos will typically be posted on Mondays by about noon or so, sometimes earlier, sometimes later, it kind of depends on the semester. But I will always send out an email when those videos are posted. So be sure to check out those towards the beginning of the week. And I encourage you to look at those videos before you actually start doing assignments, just so that you have an idea of what you do. They're not required, and I don't check that you do that, but I think it would be helpful. I have for the semester assignments broken up throughout the week so that everything's not due all at one time at the end of things. So we'll have assignments due on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then some assignments like major essays will be due on Fridays as well. All of these assignments are due at 11:59 p.m. at their given day. So for example, if you have an assignment due on Tuesday, it will be due at 11:59 p.m. on Tuesday. You are welcome to work through things early, but I wouldn't do too far in advance. Try not to work more than 1 week or so ahead, even though I have an entire module unlocked, just so that you don't end up wasting time or wasting content. You want to be sure you understand exactly what's going on. In addition, any readings that you have are going to be provided via PDF. You do not need a textbook for the class, as I said. And in this due date sheet, you're going to see certain items are bolded. Those items will get you a grade. So be sure to pay special attention to those. If it's not bolded, it's just something you need to review. So here's an example for what the first 2 weeks of any given semester is going to look like. Again, your dates may be a little different depending on the semester, but this is just the example. So here in this first week, you have 3 assignments to take care of. Your course preview introduction, my story, and my person picture discussion forum. This should be pretty easy for you to handle, just kind of a very general introductory type of assignments. All 3 of those assignments are going to be due on Friday. So you have until 11:59 p.m. to knock those out. Now, as for we move into week 2, you're going to have assignments that begin to be spread out across the week. So you'll have the HUM Reading 1 assignment. It's going to be due on Tuesday. And then as well, you are encouraged to look over the humanities essay guidelines. So those 2 assignments will be due by 11:59 p.m. on that Tuesday. And then on Thursday, you have 3 additional assignments, your HUM Artist Investigation Discussion Forum and HUM Art Piece Selection Discussion Forum. Also, your first grammar quiz will be due at the end of that second week, your subject verb location. Remember, for grammar quizzes, you can take them up to 3 times, so take them as many times as you need to get the grade you want. Again, all these assignments will be due at 11:59 p.m. on their respective day. If you need more time, you're welcome to email me and ask, but try and do your best to stay on task. For these larger assignments, typically ones that get bolded, such as the art piece selection assignments, there will be a separate individual video explaining that particular assignment. So always double check to make sure that you've got all the videos covered and you should be good to go. But as always, if you have any questions about due dates, just email me and we can take care of it. Best of luck.
Hey gang, slightly updated Dr. Yao here for you. I wanted to add in this to the video about my late work policy. So we've got three major aspects of the grades, and each one has a slightly different policy towards how I handle its late work. The big thing is that especially as an online class, it's very easy to let this work like kind of get away from you, and I don't want you to constantly feel like you're in the weeds. There is some point where it's just better just to kind of move on and pick up fresh. So that's kind of how this late work policy is. That's its philosophy. That's why I have it set this way. So let's talk about homework first. So this is just like the casual, informal assignments, so like discussion forums. For all of these, I will accept these late up until a certain point. Basically, once the unit is done, once that essay for that particular unit is turned in, these will be locked out. So if, for example, you have something due on Tuesday and you turn it in on that following Thursday, that's okay. It's late, but I will still grade it and give you feedback. It will, however, be a 20% penalty to it. So you can only make it the highest end in 80. Now, if let's say you have the HUM Reading 1 assignment and you miss that, once you turn in that HUM first essay, that old reading assignment is now locked out and you will not be able to complete it until finals week. Rather than you constantly going back and doing old work when we've already moved on to a new project, we're just going to lock it down. So any homework that's turned in late within its own unit will get a 20% penalty. But any homework that is turned in outside of its own unit will be locked out when that essay is due, but you can still make it up in finals week for 50% of its original credit. So again, the purpose here is to keep you on task, but also not constantly fill a backlog of work that you need to do, and for me to grade as well, for that matter. Same is true of grammar quizzes. These will be open up throughout the semester with a 20% penalty, but they do lock periodically as you go through. Okay, process writing. These are, again, assignments like peer reviews, bibliographies, proposals, things like that. These are incredibly valuable assignments. So I really want you to do them. Like, I will kind of hound you about them. If you're missing them, I will chase you down. So these have a slightly lighter late work penalty. If you are late, it is 10% per week. So for example, there is a HUM thesis statement assignment. You can turn that in up to a week late and only receive a 10% penalty on that. However, similarly, if we have turned in the essay, that assignment will lock and you will no longer be able to turn that in until finals week when it's only worth 50%. There is really very little purpose in you turning in process writing for an essay that you have either already turned in or have missed. So like, we just need to like chop that down and move on to the new one. As far as formal assignments are concerned, these are your major essays. These have a kind of built-in 48-hour grace period. As of now, all of the essays are set to be turned in on Fridays at 11:59 p.m. But I am not waiting in my pod to come up at 11:40 or 11:59 p.m. to grade them. I won't start grading them until Monday, more than likely. So you have kind of a built-in 48-hour grace period. You just have to ask for it. There will be no penalty if you turn it in within 48 hours late, as long as I've had conversation with you or been in contact. You just kind of need to tell me what's going on, where you are, kind of like what push you need to get there. After that, though, it will be 5 points per week, kind of off the top, up to a total of 30. And then if we hit that point, I may not take it at all. So just kind of keep that in mind. Again, the purpose of this is to just like keep you on track, keep you moving forward so that you're not constantly having to backtrack and do old work that we've already kind of moved on from. So those are the major ideas. If you have any questions or concerns about this policy or any of your due dates, you can always reach out and email me and we'll be good to go. All right. Best of luck as we get into the semester, and I'll see you in these first couple of assignments.